Morning everybody. Yeah, it's a very chilly morning here at the Fish River Canyon. We're at the Canyon Roadhouse where we slept over last night. This morning it's just 6:30 now. We're getting picked up with an open vehicle and we're on our way now to the Fish River Canyon to look at the Fish River Canyon at sunrise. So it's going to be very, very cold on the way. It's beautiful stars out. But yeah, let's see what the canyon looks like at sunrise.
What is going to happen is that we're going to drive to the main entrance gate, which is like 20 kilometers down the road. We're going on the public roads, so the seatbelts are mandatory. Yes. How's everybody doing?
Very good.
Okay.
We're walking here up to the hikers viewpoint. This is the point where hikers will start their descent into the canyon for their 4 or 5 day walk. Day visitors were not allowed to go down into the canyon. But we have a very beautiful viewpoint from up here.
Amazing to see there's really people going down there.
It's not just a myth.
Yeah.
The locals say that this was actually created by a snake that stole their flock, and then they sort of tracked it down, followed it, and in the end eventually killed it. And while the snake was dying, it was like writhing and turning and made this shape. What you can see very clearly is that the Fish River meanders a lot. So meanders like going in curves. This has to do with the very singular way in which this structure evolved. I don't know if you can see this, but basically there are 2 levels. Yeah, there's one level that you can see very nicely on that side, and then there's another level deep down where the river flows. Okay, so the first thing that happened was that there were faults in the structure of the surface of the tectonic plate. You have heard of tectonic plates, you know that they move around, yes, and there were like cracks in it. And that is why this upper canyon, as we call it, the whole area like sank down and formed some kind of trough. You can see this very nicely there. If you ignore the lower canyon with the river, you can see that a whole part of the area sank down. And this is where the river first of all found its way. Okay. You can see clearly up them, if you look at the rocks, that some of them are layered like this. They are sedimentary rocks. They are the ones on top. Yes? And and these are very soft rocks. Underneath, you will see that this is much more like folded and squeezed, and has a different pattern. This is metamorphic rock, which is much older than the sedimentary rock that is lying on top. So this metamorphic rock underneath is the basis of a very old mountain range that used to exist here, like 1.2 billion years. And that was like, by erosion, it was graded down until it was a big, huge plain. And on top of that, the sedimentary rock, which are much younger, settled. And as I said, the sedimentary rock is much softer, and that is why when this whole thing sank down, the river, first of all, did not manage to cut into the basis. Okay? It just sort of meandered. It made the whole valley wider rather than deeper. Yes? And then other things happened. Basically, the tectonic plates were pulling apart, in which caused some of them sort of got lifted, and now suddenly the water had to get into the ocean. The water had to cover a much higher difference in height. So that's added like pressure to the water and force to the water. Also, believe it or not, at some point Namibia to a large extent was covered in glaciers, because the tectonic plates were moving around. At some point they were much closer to the South Pole, and there were glaciers, and when they melted they also brought a lot more water and a lot more power. So we have a steeper inclination to the ocean, and we have more water. So now the water had the power to actually cut also into this very hard underlying metamorphic rock, and this is what you can see nicely here. Even today, of course, the Fish River Canyon is very important for, first of all, the animals and also the people, because it is a source of water. The water that you will find here is more or less groundwater, and these little pools that you have will remain for most of the year.
So there's no fish then? There's nothing there?
There is fish, yes.
Yeah.
And even the local people still go and fish down here.
Yeah.
The animals come to drink, of course. You will find zebra in there, you will find klipspringer. Further up the canyon is much wider and not so steep, so there are areas where even giraffe can come down and drink. Leopard, of course, this is leopard territory with all the rocks. Yeah. So it's 500 meters deep. And depending on where you start counting, the numbers vary between 90 and some people say 150 kilometers long. The Grand Canyon is 3 times as deep and 3 times as long, but this one is older, much older, 10 times older.
How much rain does Namibia get?
Depends on where you're asking. Right. The Caprivi, for example, a lot more. This area is desert or semi-desert area. Do you have any numbers, Roderick?
Yeah, so our average is about 100 millimeters in this area.
In this area?
Yeah. And so the previous year we had 30 millimeters in total. So this year was a better year. This is around between 60 and 65 in some of the areas.
And mostly what time of the year? Winter?
So it's actually in summer. So
summer.
So it starts at the end of, by the 1st of January until end of April.
Right. Okay.
But in this area we also get the winter rain. This is normally in June, July and August.
Right. Okay.
Now this is not a lot, but you could see the cover. The surface area gets then at least wet.
Yeah.
These ponds, there's a lot of ponds that keeps really water for a long time.
Right.
And they have the catfish inside.
Right.
So a little bit more north, there's more communal farmers, and they really live off from the fish.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the fish river itself, it's about 692 kilometers long. This starts with the north. And they built in the meantime 2 huge dams inside the fish river. So you have the Hartap Dam, and then you have the Nectadal Dam. This is now a little bit more north in the fish river. So, and both of them have a lot of water this time around.
Okay.
So the Hartap Dam was last year at the end of December. It was about 6% full, and then 4 weeks later it was at 75%
Right.
full.
Wow. Okay. Great.
And this is the second largest dam in Namibia.
That's good.
So it's really amazing what the rain can do. We need every little bit of it.
So we're on our way from the Canyon Roadhouse now. We're going to Bethany. We just stopped here. Behind me is the Nauta Dam. Down here is the slipway of the dam. And yeah, a little bit downstream there's a couple of farms where they grow date palms and also grapes for wine and for table grapes. Yeah, here we are crossing the Fish River. There's actually a little bit of water in the river. Fish River is Namibia's longest river, over 600 kilometers long. It's very seldom there's a bit of water in the river. Here we are getting to Bethany. So from Seeheim to Bethany there is a bit of tar road. Just after Bethany on the way to Helmeringhausen there will be back to the dirt. So I'm gonna just put some fuel here. Bethany is one of the oldest towns in Namibia. Some missionaries came here and started spreading the gospel word among the local people. They also put up a church here, and that's how the town then developed over the years. There is basically a gas station and a post office. There's a little coffee shop next to the gas station. There's also a small supermarket. Yeah, we're now here in Helmeringhausen. Helmeringhausen is one of the smallest settlements of Namibia. It's only about one street of about 100 meters long, and there's only the Helmeringhausen Hotel. And this, across the street there's a gas station and a little shop. Everything in this town except for the tar road is on private land. So yeah, this settlement was found by one of the German Schutztruppe during the colonial era, and he named the town after his town where he was born in Germany, called Helmeringhausen. It's a good place where you can come and stay over at the hotel. It's a main point for people to stop over to refuel, to continue their long journeys. Yeah, we're still about 120 kilometers away from our destination. We're going to get back on the road soon and yeah, go to Bergsdorf Guest Farm. It also claims to have the best apple cake in Namibia. So I guess we're going to have to try them all and find out which one is going to be the best. Yeah, we're here today at the Bergsdorf Guest Farm. It's a really unique, beautiful accommodation here in the Matahoe district in Namibia. They have very beautiful rooms and then a very unique experience where you can encounter cheetahs as well. So let's check it out.
The easiest way to describe this nest in terms of humans would be to say that this is a very big apartment building
with every bird or every bird family having its own apartment. And the only rent you have to pay to stay in this nest is that you have to help maintain and build the nest. So these birds, they build their nest out of anything they can find. Most of the time that just means dried grass or sticks. And despite it being built from grass and sticks, it is actually a very strong nest. So it's also not that easy for us to go and break their nest. And you will see down here we have the big nest, and just a little bit above that to the right we have a smaller nest, and that nest is for falcons. So usually these big weaver bird nests, they have falcons living with them in the same tree or just close by. Because of this nest being so big, there are always eggs inside of this nest, and that attracts a lot of snakes. So the job for the falcons is that they need to protect the weavers by killing the snakes. And the falcons benefit because they get to eat the snakes. And so it is a symbiotic relationship between the weavers and the falcons. And the only reason we call this a rhino rock is the fact that our rhinos have decided to use this rock to scratch themselves. So if you've ever seen rhinos before, you would have noticed that they usually look like they always have an itch, because they're always scratching themselves against anything they can find. And in this camp they have decided to use a few rocks, and this is one of their rocks.
Not many trees to use.
No, that's also true, yeah. They use the rocks and sometimes they use the poles, but it's dangerous for them to use the poles, so they prefer the rocks. So when the rock fell down from the hill, as you can see, those rocks are very rough. So it was a very rough rock, but because the skin of a rhino is also very thick and very rough, with them scratching themselves year after year, they have completely polished this rock very smooth. And the owner of this farm, his father always used to tell them stories about how rhinos used to live here hundreds of years ago and how they used to scratch themselves with these rocks. But of course we are now at the foot of the desert, so nobody believed him because rhinos can survive here on their own. But then when the owner started with the conservation about 13 years ago, they saw that the rhinos really do scratch themselves with these rocks. And they realized that the owner's father was always telling the truth. And they had to do some apologies.
Okay, so that was it for this video. Tomorrow we will ride to Duisburg Castle and to the Sesrim area. Stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching and see you next time.